What's up, family? You already know who it is and you know what time it is. It is time for me to address the Black community. So, first, I owe well, it's not an apology, but I like to be upfront with my community. So, first, let me say, first and foremost, that I did not come on live on Sunday, obviously, to address the Black community because Sunday was my son's 17th birthday. And the day before his birthday was my mother's 10-year death anniversary. So I just really wasn't up to coming on to talk to the community. And I'm sure you guys can really understand that. So, but I didn't forget about you guys. And I've been ready for today because the hot topic is Paul Pierce. Now, we are going to really have an in-depth, critical conversation about Paul Pierce because I know many of you guys are following the social media posts on this brother. I know many of you guys are listening to mainstream media, because y'all already know how mainstream media do. Mainstream media is real sneaky, y'all. So I know you guys have been following mainstream media, but in this community, my B1 family, in this community, what we are a community of what? Critical thinkers. So we are going to really examine this from a different perspective. So I want y'all to go ahead and do what y'all do best. Go ahead and fact check me for everything I break down. I have no problem doing that, but I am going to give y'all the scooped so that you guys can know, I got to start looking at these things at different angles. And I'm not going to continuously jump on the bandwagon with mainstream media and other significant voices that puts in your ears and in your head what they want you to believe about various things. But today we're talking about Paul Pierce. So here's what I'm going to say. Family, if you are on YouTube, I need you not only to give this video a thumbs up saying that you like it, but most importantly, I need you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you can be notified when I am going live. Of course, on YouTube, you have the ability to share the video. So I need you to share the video because I'm going to discuss some things that we as a Black community must start having conversations, not only among each other, but with our children and others. So you want to share this video. I'm going to keep it PG-13. I might have one or two words that might not be so friendly, but I'm going to keep it clean so your children can watch it. I'm becoming very cognizant and aware of these things. So go ahead and share the video. If you are on YouTube, also, I want to give a fat shout out to all my community members who joined the channel. These are the people who support me on a monthly basis, financially support me on a monthly basis, so I can feel motivated to come on and do this work because it takes a lot to constantly research this stuff and give you the information. So to all of my community members who have joined the channel, I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. To all of my donations that come in, all of you guys, I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It's because of you guys I wake up every day and I keep going because it's much easier to sleep in a bed. Trust and believe that. To my Facebook community, go ahead and share the video as well. It will be clean. Give the video a thumbs up, hearts, laughing faces, angry faces, crying faces, whatever you want to do. Just engage and interact. I need you guys to not only like the page, but also follow the page. I see those numbers are going up on the follows. We need to get those numbers up on the likes. So I really do appreciate you guys. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I know some of you guys, not all of you guys, don't have an idea of who Paul Pierce is. And you know that I would not be effective of what I do if I do not bring all of us up to speed, especially the guys. The guys know, but some of our ladies may not know. And I don't want to make a little sexist comment. I'm going to get some more emails from you ridiculous people that get too sensitive in the world. And I keep ignoring your emails. So if I'm ignoring your emails because you're too damn sensitive in the world, and I don't care what you're sending me, I'm not going to respond to your sensitivity. And if you're that sensitive, you should stay off of social media and guard your mind. But to everybody else, right, what I'm saying is most women are not going to know who Paul Pierce is, or they may not have followed his track record. So give me an opportunity so I can just give you a little bit about who he is and why this whole thing has come into play how it did. Paul Pierce was drafted by the Celtics, the Boston Celtics, back in 1998. He was given the name The Truth. So if you see him on social media, you'll often see him refer to himself as The Truth. And that was given to him by Shaquille O'Neal back in 2001. He's also somebody who is named NBA Finals MVP during 2008, and he scored more than 20,000 career points. So this guy is not somebody who is like, some fly-by-night NBA star. He actually was good at what he does. As he started to age, his time with the Celtics, I think he spent 15 years, but don't fact check me, I'm not too sure. But he was with the Celtics for a very long time. And obviously, as he aged, he got traded on to different teams like the Brooklyn Nets. He was traded on to the Washington Wizards. And I think his last trading was at LA Clippers until he retired back in 2017. ESPN. Y'all already know, and if you don't know, let me tell y'all, they have a lot of different sports commentators, and they hired him on or contracted him on as a full-time NBA studio and analyst in 2017. And he did both the ESPN, The Jump, I think it was, and ABC's NBA Countdown, if I'm not mistaken. But I know he definitely was in NBA Countdown, and I know he did The Jump. And they was paying him an alleged, I'm going to say alleged because, we don't really know about people's coins, but they was paying him an alleged $3.5 million around there every year. So we might say, well, what's the big deal? So what? He's an analyst. So what? ESPN fired him. What's new? No big deal. Well, he's an analyst. That is true. And back last weekend, he went on Instagram Live. And, see, social media gets a lot of people in trouble. A lot of people get in trouble with, well, let me rephrase that. A lot of people who work for somebody gets in trouble on social media quite often because people are not remembering. If you work for somebody, more likely than not, you own by them. You may not like the way that sounds, but it is what it is. You got to follow their rules. You got to follow their agreements, and the case goes on. So nonetheless, he was on Instagram, and he did a Instagram Live. And in this video, you will see him talking, and he's holding the camera up so you can see the angle behind him. There's women with G-string bikinis on. They sitting down, so-called making their booties clap. And no shade to the women, but they needed some help. But nonetheless, they're so-called twerking. They're so-called making their booties clap. They're all over the place. That he may have been smoking a joint or whatnot. I don't know what he was smoking, and maybe it was legal in the state he was in. So I don't know why people want to throw that in their narrative. But nonetheless, he had some Mary Jane allegedly. They was playing poker. People was drinking, dancing, twerking, half naked, whatever the case is. So according to this, according to that image, according to that Instagram Live, you may see snippets of it, but you can watch his whole Instagram Live definitely on YouTube, because I watched the whole thing from beginning to end. And when I watched the whole thing, that's when I was like, hold up a minute. Give me a second. Pause. Was it because the little trashy dress girls are the scantily clad women? Was that the reason why he really got fired? Because I listened to his whole Instagram Live, and it was a statement that he made that I was like, this is it right there. But I'm going to save that for later. Keep watching. Somebody says, Doc, I like your shirt. So the shirt says, if you don't like your story, then rewrite that SHRT. That's sugar, honey, iced tea, baby. And this comes from Sweet Teas. She follows me on Instagram. She sends me shirts all the time. She's an awesome sister. She has her shirts. I mean, her shirts are awesome. Every last shirt that I've gotten from her, I have never complained about. So if you are liking her shirt, if she is in the feed, I know she comes on sometimes, go ahead and put your information so people can know how to follow you. But she's Sweet Teapot, or Sweet Tea Shop, STEES on Instagram. Y'all can go ahead and follow her. But nonetheless, back to the story. So I stepped back and I listened to his Instagram, and I was like, That's not why he was fired. But I'm going to play along with the game that the media is putting out there. And I'm going to address my community because I know we're critical thinkers and we elevate our thinking beyond that. So let's say what the media is putting out there. The media is saying that he got fired because he was caught in an Instagram Live, a racy video that was put out there where he is contracted by ESPN to be the NBA sports analysis, as well as knowing that ESPN is co-owned by Disney. Now, I'm going to take y'all through the Disney history real quick. It ain't going to be a big history, but you can look up everything I'm sharing with you guys. I'm going to take y'all through the Disney history real quick. That's why I find it kind of ironic that they would even say that that's the reason why he was terminated. Y'all following me, sisters and brothers? Shout out to Sid. Thank you so much for that donation. Sid is saying, hold on one second. Sid is saying in 2001, he was fired because he didn't have a bunch of men's out there. You know what, Sid? Take your behind to sleep, Sid. But nonetheless. So they're saying that there is this morality clause in the contract, just like there are morality clauses in NBA contracts as well. And so basically under the clause, it is trying to put together that you are to remain morally sound at all times because you're contracted by us. And remember, whatever you do out there in the public, it impacts us. So let's pause for a second. That is very true. Okay, we have to say that is very true. Because if you're working for somebody, you are a representation for that company. I think a lot of us can agree with that. For the most part, we can all agree with that. Just like we be seeing sisters, well, not sisters with the the TH, the TAH at the end, but you know what I'm talking about. We be seeing people act crazy out in the community, Becky's and Karen's. Come on, let's just call them what they are. They act crazy out in the community, and next thing you know, they be getting fired from their corporate jobs and whatnot. They get fired because your behavior, if it's not in alignment with the agency or the company's mission or vision statement, then you are in direct competition to it. You cannot remain on board with the company because you run the risk of tarnishing their reputation. So I get that. I get that that was the reason why they're putting it out there in propaganda world, mainstream media, that's the reason why ESPN decided to part ways, because they're a Disney company, because they're a family-oriented company, so image is really big. But the reason why I say, y'all follow me, family? You're following me? The reason why I say I think that is ironic is given not only Disney as the company's history, but we're going to talk about a little bit of what ESPN has done in the past as well. Right? Y'all follow me so far? First of all, let's talk about Disney for a second. Disney has so many allegations out there that have been fact-checked, and they were not deemed to be a lie. Y'all can take me up on this if you want. Fair. But they have been rumored, Disney, the history of Disney has been rumored to be anti-Semitic. So you have to take note of this. There's a reason why I'm sharing this. You know I'm going to connect all the dots. They are known to be anti-Semitic, their history, as well as racist. Now, anti-Semitic, because back in the 1930s, it is believed, or it's been documented, not believed, it's been documented that Disney, who his name is Walter Elias Disney, and he's coined as Walt. That's where you get the Walt Disney from, is Walter Elias Disney. It is said that he had attended meetings of a pro-Nazi organization. Follow me with this, family. I should be writing this down. Follow me with this. He has attended meetings with a pro-Nazi organization, and he's also is known for his history of hosting different Nazi propagandists, such as Leni Riefenstahl. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But he is known to have associated with anti-Semitic people, or people who were part of Nazi Germany and Nazi propaganda. He has known to host them and invite them into his world, into his life, right? That's that. Walt Disney also has racist stereotypes in plenty of his films, especially the prior films. Films like Dumbo, where the Black Crows were depicting stereotypes about Black people. You have Fantasia's Black Servant. That was an issue in his film Fantasia. You also have the Band movie, which is Song of the South. That movie is not allowed to be played for the public anymore because it was so offensive. It was so offensive that he was supposed to meet. I want y'all to realize this and write this down. He was supposed to meet, they're supposed to do that. And they never do it because they don't have to respect us. But we're going to talk about that too. Whole nother story. But he was supposed to meet with the NAACP. Y'all know why I'm making that face about the NAACP, because we don't own the NAACP. So there is no mistake why that meeting never happened. But when that film, Song of the South, came out, he was supposed to meet with the NAACP, but that never happened. It never happened. It went away, and the film was released regardless, despite the fact that they knew that the film was very racist and offensive. After a while, that film was pulled. This guy, Walter Elias Disney, has been heard out of his mouth, which has been documented, calling the Seven Dwarfs from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, calling them a Nigger pal, so a ninja pal, but use the other word, don't use ninja. He called them a ninja pal, number one, and he used the term, or he's known to use the term during that time, pickaninny. Now, we know pickaninny is a very racist term. It's a slur. It's offensive. He also had been brought up in plenty of lawsuits of not hiring so-called, the word that I can't stand, minorities. So I find that quite ironic that we talk about image. We talk about how we don't want to be seen. The company doesn't want to be seen, but your company has never been really fair to us. Just because y'all gave us that one princess, the one Black princess that kissed the frog, don't mean you have been fair to our community overall, or other communities of so-called color. You know what I'm talking about. But just because you're giving us that, don't mean that you don't have a history that's questionable. But now all of a sudden, because he's smoking Mary J, he's not following COVID restrictions, right? Because nobody had on a mask and nobody was within 6 feet, even though it looked like it was in somebody's house. But you know how that goes. They always want to distract us with some stuff. Oh, you're not following in the COVID. Oh, Lord Jesus, you got naked women. Oh, good Lord, you work for ESPN. You cannot represent us like that. But that's what they would go ahead and say. And so many people in our community likes to eat this kind of crap up, and they roll with it. And they're not really being critical in their thought analysis, and they're not really stepping back and saying, well, let me really examine this. Is the pot calling the kettle black? Well, by golly, I say it is. Let's talk about ESPN. Y'all still with me? Right? Y'all still with me? Let's talk about ESPN. Now, here's a bad image for ESPN. Oh no, you're bad. You're fired. Out of here, buddy. You representing a company that's associated with a family company, with these naked women and this COVID restriction violations. How dare you guys not have a mask and have these ladies twerking? By the way, we love your nasty music. It's just ridiculous. But nonetheless, let's talk about ESPN. First of all, ESPN is the same company. Y'all can fact check me if you would like. It comes with receipts. ESPN is the same company who had hired Alex Rodriguez. Now, y'all do remember Alex Rodriguez, right? Y'all do know that he was like the adulterer times 40. You know that Alex Rodriguez was the PIMP, married and all. You know he was a cheater. He was an infidel. You already know, but they hired him. The company that's so concerned with Walt Disney's image because it's a family-oriented company, but you hire an adulterer. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it. We're going to be right. We're going to be all the way right. We're going to be all the way right. But one may argue, well, no, that doesn't count because, you know, Alex Rodriguez cheated on his wife way before ESPN hired him. But that's not the point. The point is you still hired a known cheater. Plus, wasn't he like suspended from the league for the whole year? Because of what reason? Right? You guys got to Google it. Look it up. Why was he suspended for the whole year? It wasn't because of moral reasons. More like immoral reasons. He was suspended for a whole damn year. But okay, that's not enough for you guys. That's not enough for this. So let's talk about Tony Kornheiser. Now, Tony Kornheiser worked with ESPN as well, and he was a commentator who attacked Hannah Storm's wardrobe. He was taking clear, divisive attacks at her, one of his colleagues and co-workers right on television. I would say that's not a moral thing to do if you're representing a company. Does the company want to represent bullies? Is it okay that this man is bullying this woman because of her wardrobe? That's okay? That's okay. So we're talking about morals. We're talking about standards. We're talking about the morality clause that allegedly got him canned. But we also know that although there is a morality clause, the companies had a lot of discretion when it comes to decision making. They get to decide who they're going to suspend, who they're going to fire, right? Who they're going to fine. They get to decide all of these things. So when I take a look at it and I review a lot of the clips concerning Paul Pierce and his ESPN NBA countdown or whatever it's called, all that stuff, when I view it and I look at it, here's one thing I would tell you about Paul Pierce. He was not considered a commodity for ESPN, nor was he an essential player for ESPN. And what I mean when I say an essential player, meaning you're going to be on this team in order for us to go to bat for you, in order for us to represent you to the fullest, you got to be a commodity for us. You got to be an asset. You got to be worth something. And this guy just wasn't. And we're going to be honest. This guy has constantly been ridiculed on that show. He has been often criticized on that show. He wasn't respected whatsoever. This man was highly disrespected on the show. He was often mocked by the people on the show, and he was the butt of many jokes on that show. So he was not considered someone who was an asset. He was invaluable. He was disposable. So why did they fire him? Right? I never said, so somebody is saying, let me check this person, because some people have a hard time listening, right? So we're going to help this person listen. I never said that he was fired for infidelity. I said they hired him at ESPN despite the fact that he was known for his infidelity. So where are you coming from? Why don't you press rewind, listen to me again, and get out your emotions, because emotional people never fare well with me. And you're so emotional, this might not be the show for you, because if you're going to be that emotional, you're always going to be offended. So do yourself some mental health cleaning and make sure you can balance your mental health by going somewhere and getting off this channel, because you're in your bag. You're in your bag and no one cares. So I just have to say that out there, because you're going to become the butt of my jokes. Get your life. But anyway, let's go back to the conversation. So why did they fire him? Why did they fire him? I want you guys, if you can, because I know some of you guys are so busy, you don't have 15 minutes to do some research. Some people, not all. I want you guys to go back and listen to his Instagram. And I want you to just consider, even though I don't think he meant any harm by it, but consider the fact that he made statements about Shabbat. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, because I'm not Jewish, but it's a Jewish type of custom, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because we already know federally that there is an Anti-Defamation League. And we already know, especially if you are on TV or you serve in a position that is of prestige and respect and high regard, there's certain things that you can and cannot say, right? There's certain things you can and cannot say, more things you cannot say than the things that you can say. And once you say certain things, it makes people's ears go up and it makes people uncomfortable. Why am I bringing this up? I'm going to tell you in a second. But before I do, let me just go backwards a little bit. Let's talk about 2018 when LeBron, now y'all do know who LeBron is, right? Remember, he was on his Instagram post. This is back in 2018, and he was citing some of the lyrics from one of the songs written or sang or performed, whatever you want to call it, by 21 Savage. And one of the statements he made in that song, when he was citing the lyrics by 21 Savage, was Jewish money. Now, you have to understand that when you say things like we get in Jewish money, that is a statement of bigotry. And that is a statement that is definitely protected by the Anti-Defamation League. And the reason why it's a statement of bigotry is because Jewish money is tied to a long history of propaganda used by the Nazis during the time where the Jews were, what is the word that they use? You know, my mind is always going. When the 6 million Jews were, what's the word they use? My mind is saying executed, but I can't find the news, the word right now. But you understand what I'm saying, right? You understand what I'm saying. So during that time, Nazi Germany used a whole bunch of propaganda to put the message out there that the Jewish population had all the money. Genocide. Thank you so much, King Hazy. And Holocaust. That's what I was looking for. So that was the Holocaust. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, you know, I got in a car accident a while ago and I had a concussion, and some of my words come back, some of my words do not come back. So thank you so much. I was looking for that. But nonetheless, I was talking about the Holocaust. Now, remember, during that time, the Nazis, the reason why they turned so many people against the Jewish population was because they used propaganda to turn people's hearts and minds away from the Jewish population. And one of the propagandas out there was about Jewish people having all the money and holding all the cables, all the wires or cords or strings to the community and using them at their discretion, right? So you would see like this big, heavy-set, obese Jewish drawing or a drawing of an alleged Jewish person with their stomach popping out, the Star of David on there, and they have all these cable cords attached to people like puppets, and they're indicating, because, you know, if you was plump back in the days, they're saying that is a sign of wealth. So they're using these cords to pull the people. So when you say get that Jewish money, see, it's okay. It's okay for you to say get that Arab money and nobody says anything. Am I lying or am I telling the truth? It's okay for you to say we getting Arab money and nobody say anything. But if you say we getting Jewish money, baby, that's a form of bigotry. It is a problem. It is a problem. Everybody going down. I don't even care if you ain't saying, if you even listen to the song, you going down because the Anti-Defamation League is protected federally. Y'all remember on one of my videos, you got to go back to my channel, but I went over the whole Anti-Defamation League's executive order that was signed and is a federally protected thing, right? Remember I went over that. So you got to understand that LeBron has said that, and then immediately, you know, when he was checked real quick, you know, because LeBron has the reputation of being morally sound. He has the reputation of speaking out for all people who are being discriminated against. He has that reputation in which he's been given. So when that happened, you know, they got on him and he took it down, and then he immediately wrote a letter of apology. You also have Meyer Leonard, which just happened more recently. And I believe it happened in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. But Myers Leonard, he was on YouTube streaming his game, and he was playing, and he made a comment that went against the Anti-Defamation League. Now his comment was clear as day that it was wrong. He used a slur to describe the Jewish population. I'm not going to repeat it because it's highly offensive. And just like I don't want any of them using the N word because you might lose some teeth with me, I don't want to use that word either. But you already know what starts with a K. He used a highly offensive word. And this guy was suspended and he was fined $50,000. Not terminated. Not terminated. He was suspended and fined $50,000. He met with the Anti-Defamation League and they educated him on why his comment was offensive. And this is what the Anti-Defamation League is. If they paying you to do your job, right? It's not, well, not they, but if a certain company is paying you to do your job and you say things against that company and there's people in that company representative of the Jewish population, you already know it's going to be even worse for you, right? It's going to bad enough that you already are in the public making this comment, but now you are in a company working with other people who identify as Jewish and you are saying that word. So you already know they're going to have a sit down with you. And the Anti-Defamation League determined that they feel that he was genuinely remorseful. So he got fined $50,000 and he was suspended. Now, hold on a second while I make that connection. Give me 1 second. Let me say this. I keep telling y'all, family, we need an Anti-Defamation League. We need our own Anti-Defamation League because, yes, the Holocaust was terrible. It was terrible. You can't do that to humans, period. And the Black Holocaust was terrible and lasted for hundreds of years and is still continuing on the motherland where there is genocide happening right now and people still have racial slurs against us. We are still discriminated against. We cannot get hired. We are disrespected. We are killed. We are shot. We're still being lynched. Media don't like to cover that, but you already know that we know, family, because, you know, we follow everything. We're still being lynched. So all of these things are happening for us, but anybody can say and do whatever they want to us, and there's no repercussions. There's no repercussions whatsoever. So I just want to put that out there. So let me go back and make the connection. Now, let me say this. Going back to the Shabbat comment. Now, his comment that he made on Instagram most likely was innocent. It was an innocent microaggression, if anything such as that exists, right? I honestly do feel that he meant no harm when he made the statement. However, I can see how some populations of people are very sensitive and you say one thing and you know what? Don't get in your bag. Don't get in your feelings because our community, y'all already know what I'm about to say, right? We're sensitive too. Somebody that don't look like us, don't act like us, say something derogatory toward us, we be ready to go upside their head with a bat. So I get why they are sensitive because we're sensitive too. Let's just be fair in the conversation. Let's just be objective and be fair. They sensitive, we sensitive too, period, right? But I think his microaggression was innocent. So you got to understand what I mean when I say microaggression. Hola, amiga. How you doing? You got to understand what I mean when I say microaggression. This is when comments are made that are not outright disrespectful, but you know is laced with disrespect. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Shout out to Jamie Martinez. Thank you so much for that donation. Jamie is saying, well, the former commissioner and current ones are Jewish. Not to mention the majority of their advertisers are also. Those comments aren't going to fly. I'm just trying to say, you know, we critical thinkers in this community, right? Nobody else is talking about this for the most part, except for one Jewish newspaper, Jewish online media site that I found, but it wasn't saying anything derogatory or mean. But you know, they caught it. So now I know. Listen, main media did not catch it. Well, not that they didn't catch it. Main media is not making it about it because I don't think that it met the criteria for the Anti-Defamation League. Trust and believe, if it met the criteria for the Anti-Defamation League, they would have been on his behind like white on rice. You better believe it. They would have been on him like a jacket if it met the criteria. But it didn't. But a Jewish paper, because I was sitting out there saying, this is kind of weird. He made this comment, something on Steve Right. So as I'm driving to the mall to take back some active wear, getting ready for, okay, never mind. But As I'm driving to the mall to go return an item, my son is in the front seat with me, and I give him my phone. Said, Poppy, I want you to look up LeBron's Jewish comment and see who's talking about it. He couldn't find, and then he says, oh, okay. And he comes over this one Jewish media site, and they are the only one that broke it down. They are the only one that say, and they're not reporting it from a negative light. But no one else is talking about it, but they are. So let me tell you why this matters to me. Because if they're talking about it, other people were thinking about it. You understand what I'm trying to say? Other people in the Jewish community heard it, and they probably had a conversation about it. You know, they meet about a lot of things. Now, we don't seem to do that, right? People just fly over and say whatever the hell they want to say about us, and we all make excuses in our community. We publicly make excuses. See, they keep things behind the door, and then when they're ready to say something publicly and come out, our asses talk about it all loud. We fight with each other about it. We make excuses. We keep on playing it. We keep on saying it. I'm telling you, this is why we ain't got an anti-defamation league. This is why we ain't got one, because we can't pull it together and be on code. But they on code. So let me tell you what their article said. This is coming out of what's the name of this? Hold on. The name of this article is jta.org. And I'm gonna read y'all the article, then I'm gonna go into to finish my thing, right? jta.org. It says, in the middle of a racy viral Instagram video that preceded his firing from a broadcasting gig at ESPN, NBA legend Paul Pierce spent over a minute lauding the Jewish ritual of a sit-down Shabbat dinner. Pierce is not Jewish, but during the live streamed video from his house over the weekend, the Hall of Fame finalist gets massaged by scantily clad women and appears to smoke marijuana while flaunting COVID-19 social distancing protocols. He said his family style of meal on the Jewish Shabbat contrasts with his upbringing. At first, Pierce says that a friend playing poker across the room skipped Shabbat to attend his party. The friend retorts that he is not Jewish, because you can hear the guy in the video say, I'm not Jewish. I'm not Jewish. He says that on the video. Then he says, hey, man, shout out to all the Jews for Shabbat. Now, you already know Jewish people do not like to be referred to as the Jews because they find that statement highly offended. Just want y'all to know that. Shout out to all the Jews for Shabbat. I wish I can come to Shabbat, Pierce says in response. Shout out to all my Jewish homies. I got love. I know Friday's night is your night. I'll see y'all on Sunday. Now, he's saying that because you know about the Jewish community, the practicing Orthodox Jewish community, and I'm pretty sure other Jewish communities as well. On Friday from sundown to Saturday sundown, that's their Sabbath. So they're not allowed to drive. They do worship. They're in prayer. This is what they do. And then on Sunday starts their week, and they come back out and they're driving, they're eating out and all the other stuff. So that's what he means when he says, I know y'all couldn't come to my party because my party's on a Friday because y'all in the house because of your Sabbath, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. That's what he's basically saying. He then tells his feed of Instagram commenters that he would like to attend a Shabbat dinner. Can somebody invite me to their Shabbat? I would love to have a sit-down meal like that because I really never had that type of family environment growing up. You know what I'm saying? I would love to join one of y'all's Shabbat. I never had that in my life. I never had my pops around, Pierce says. He then looks seriously into the camera and says, I don't know. I wish I could see what it's like. So because of that part right there, the Anti-Defamation League probably didn't have enough because they don't know whether he was being rude via microaggression or he was really curious about a Shabbat. You really can't tell what was happening. So that's not something they can really jump on. You understand what I'm saying, family? Shout out to Joey Shunshine for that donation. I appreciate that. That's not something that he can really go on, right? So that is not the issue. They couldn't make that the issue. But let me let you guys see it from a different perspective. Give me a second. Now, to my community, because I know we have a lot of people that don't belong in our community, right? They just like to come on because some people in other communities, I ain't gonna call no names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. They ain't even considered melanated or people of color, but you know what I'm talking about. Some people always like to come on our community and listening to what we say because their community is boring. So they come over to our community. You know, we full of color, we live, and they like to listen to everything we say. We get it, we get it, we get it. They always want to come over here. They like to hear me speak for some reason, but nonetheless, I want my community, not the non-melanated people. The non-melanated people, you're a guest. You shouldn't even comment in this conversation unless you got something of significance to add. You should just shut up, listen, and watch because you're not welcome, but you're here. But nonetheless, you know what I mean. Get in your bag if you want to. This is the Dr. Shonna show. This is not your show. But nonetheless, as I was saying, to my community, I want you to think about like this. If there was a white boy or a white girl on the camera, and the white boy or the white girl was saying, you know, shout out to all my black homies. I wish y'all invite me to one of your cookouts. I would really like to try that fried chicken and all. I really do like fried chicken, but you know, my family can really never cook fried chicken like how you guys can cook fried chicken. You know, and I love when I go to your houses and stuff, and you know, it's just the food is awesome. It's so awesome. Like, so shout out to all of y'all. One day, can one of y'all come and help me cook some fried chicken or teach me how to do it? Because I really want to master that. Because it ain't nothing like having, you know, fried chicken for my homies. Now, y'all know your behinds will be pissed off about it. Y'all know y'all won't find that as innocent whatsoever. Y'all know y'all would see that as an aggression. I don't even know if you would call it a microaggression, but y'all know y'all would see it as an aggression. Y'all know if one of them said, you know, shout out to all my black friends out there who go to church, you know, those Baptist churches and stuff for like 2 hours. I mean, the singing is awesome and everything. I love the singing and the choir. I don't know how they sit through 2 hours of that. But you know something, you know, I would really like to be invited to a black church. Like, you know, I really do love going to a black church. I mean, y'all do a lot, and you know, you do a too. Sometimes I get nervous because I don't know what to expect because you know I never seen the Holy Ghost. But you know, I really do enjoy going to the black churches. So I can see how y'all, you know, sing and how people get the Holy Spirit. Now, y'all know, saying something like that, the non-melanated people saying something like that, y'all already know our asses will hit the ceiling. We won't even find it funny. You understand what I'm trying to say? We will be on it like white on rice. So that's what I mean when I say innocent microaggression in terms of what Paul Pierce said. But nonetheless, somebody can see it as a microaggression. And if you understand what microaggressions are, then you will understand why somebody can see that as a microaggression. Because if somebody said it to us, we'll be offended as well. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. They couldn't really get him on that. But make no mistake, that was factored in. That was factored in. You know, on top of him not being a commodity or essential or an asset, whatever word you want to use, to ESPN. But that statement could have been seen as a microaggression, just didn't meet the level of the Anti-Defamation League. Now, if you go over the Anti-Defamation League, it's very clear of what falls under that. It's very clear. And it didn't meet it. It didn't meet it. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't a factor. Doesn't mean that it wasn't a factor. But they made it about the almost naked women, right? Twerking in the background. They made it about that. They made it about the COVID-19 restrictions. They made it about that. But I want you ladies and gentlemen to know, I want you to know, there is a lesson in this for all of us. And I'm talking about all of us in our community. In our community. I see a lot of people's comments on here that don't belong to our community, right? So we damn sure ain't talking about them, right? But you know, when I say our community, they think that they're automatically in here. But here's the lesson that I want us to know. When you are in Rome, you got to do as the Romans. Let me put that to you another way. If you know that you want and need your job, now I'm not saying that Paul Pierce wanted his job. I don't know if he felt some kind of way. I mean, $3.5 million a year, some very, very, very good money. However, I don't know if he felt some kind of way because he was the butt of the jokes. He was often disrespected. He was often criticized. He was often, just disrespected altogether. He was ridiculed. They didn't treat him very nicely on that show, right? But nonetheless, I don't know if he was like, F it, I don't care. Because, I can't just leave my contract. I got a contract, but they can fire me. So let me go ahead and do this. And you can go ahead and fire me if you want to. At least I can get out of here. That could be it. That can definitely be it. But I don't know if that was the reason, but I can't say that it wasn't the reason. But I will tell you this. When you are in Rome, you are to do as the Romans. That's my number one rule to my family. Do as the Romans. You know, if your paycheck is coming elsewhere, it's not coming from you, it's coming elsewhere. You got to do what you know is expected of you, whether you like it or not. You got to do it unless you don't want your job, unless you don't need the money. Maybe you don't need the money. That's a great thing. I will hope that he saves his money over his career in the NBA. I will hope so, but who knows? But when you're in Rome, you got to do as the Romans. Number two, always remember, family, you are expendable. You are expendable. Trust and believe. Don't ever think you are above being terminated. If you are not valuable, if they don't need you, if you don't make them a whole bunch of money, you are always going to be expendable. Now, don't get it twisted. He should have acted differently, without a doubt. I don't say, I'm not going to be up here and say what he did was innocent. It really wasn't. He should have acted different because, like I said, if any of you guys work for a corporation and you were out there acting like that, chances are you will lose your job too, because you're owned by the corporation, whether you like the way it sounds or not. You owned by the corporation, so there's certain things that you cannot do. You can't be out there acting like a fool. So you got to always keep in mind that you are expendable. And just like we all out there recording people and saying, help us find this person's a racist, this person did this person discriminated, this person should be fired, and these people are getting fired left and right, our asses are going to get fired too. Our asses are going to be getting fired too. We out on social media acting a fool. So be careful about how you show up. Be careful about what you do. Because the only thing they need is a reason to fire you. But you don't own your own. You are expendable. Number three, the same rules don't apply to us as they apply to everybody else. And that's something that our community has to really get in their heads. I don't know why we tend to think that, well, if it didn't happen to so-and-so, it ain't going to happen to us. Yeah, morality clause, that exists. But the company also has discretion. If the company can hire Alex Rodriguez, despite all of his history, if the company can keep Tony on, despite his disrespect of his co-worker, right? They could have suspended Paul Pierce. They could have waited till the whole hype of social media died down, because it was like, whoa, the hype could have died down. They could have suspended him. They could have kept him, but he was expendable. He wasn't valuable. He wasn't bringing them what they needed. So he was let go. So do understand that the same rules that apply to other people don't apply to us. Right? It don't apply to us. So it makes no sense for us to just assume that it ain't going to happen to us because it didn't happen to them. Just because it ain't happened to them doesn't mean it ain't going to happen to us. That's the mindset we have to have, unless you're ready for it. Now, hopefully he's ready for it. Like he said in his video, bigger and better things. They knock you down 2 times, you get up 3, right? Just like he said. I think he said it wrong, but I understand what he was trying to say. But nonetheless, maybe he has big things coming, like he said. Who knows? I don't care. But I ain't talking to him. I'm talking to some of us. Understand, the same rules do not apply to you. That's something that many of our mamas, y'all already know growing up. Y'all already know in our community growing up, many of our mamas, they'll say the same thing. What they can do, you can't do. Right? Am I the only one that had a mama that would say that? What they can do, you cannot do. So don't be going out here acting a fool because their asses will be sent home and yours will be in jail. Anybody else had a black mama like that? Because that is something my mama raised us with. Oh, shoot, listen. I remember every time I used to come home from school, when I went to, a PWI, and when I was to come home from my college, my PWI, my mother would say, I hope you ain't following them. Don't listen. Don't think they're your friends, because if y'all get in trouble, they ain't gonna be your friend then. And if y'all get in trouble, they're gonna be released, and you're gonna be the one to pay the price. So do understand that you can't do what they do. So don't be drinking and driving. Don't be underage drinking. You can't do what they do. They'll make an example out of you. Right? Anybody else mama used to say that? See, everyone is saying it. Yes, ma'am, exactly. Right? This is what people used to say. So you can't, the same rules don't apply. Number 4, be mindful, family. You working for somebody, you better be mindful that there is an anti-defamation league. Be mindful that there are things that you cannot say. You could be on social media acting like your cover is secret and no one knows who you are. Let me tell you something, baby. When they be on it, they be on it. They will find who you are. If you work for a major corporation, you'll be out of a job. So you better be very careful about what you say and what you do, because anybody can talk about us. We can't talk about anybody else. So you better be very careful what you say, because you skating on thin ice. Now they sit down at that table and they go over their rules and they see, and you violate rule 1034.5, you out of there. Be careful. And even if you don't violate rule 1031.5, you may not violate that rule, but I'll tell you one thing. If they feel like you skating too close, they'll find a reason to let you go. They'll find a reason to let you go, because they always do. They always do. So you better understand that we are in a fishbowl. And that brings me to number 5. We are in a fishbowl. And everybody's watching us. So if one of us do something, in their eyes, all of us do it. Now, should it be like that? Absolutely not. But if one person do it, in their eyes, all of us do it. So you got to be very, very careful. I don't want to represent the whole community, but society makes me represent the whole community, right? So you got to be very, very, very careful of that kind of stuff. So one person act a fool and have skanky women all over the place, twerking, doing all types of ridiculous things, and you caught on camera, and they're going to all assume that all black men, because you already know the propaganda when it comes to black men. You already know the propaganda. They're like some thirsty sexual fiends, right? That's the propaganda. So you out there, you doing all of that. You got to be very careful. We are in a fishbowl right now. This community is being watched, because we making a lot of noise. And one thing, when you make a lot of noise, the one thing that people want to do more than anything else is to shut your asses up. You understand what I'm saying? You can't make too much noise. You make too much noise, it is time for you to shut up, disappear, and go away. So they looking for anything to shut our behinds up, disappear, go away. Listen, y'all better watch it. You better watch it. So family, I thank y'all so much for joining in today. I just wanted to give you guys a different perspective on my take on the Paul Pierce situation. I want you guys to look at it from another angle, from my perspective. I know there's a lot of people out there talking about it, and yeah, I could sit down here all day and say how much of a fool he was. That ninja crazy. He should have known he was going to get fired. What the hell was he thinking? You don't do something stupid like that. You working for a company. I can say all of that. That's what everybody else is saying. So y'all can go to everybody else's channel to hear everybody else say that. I don't have to say that, right? What I looked at it was from a different perspective and a different lens. And if you look at everything that was happening, especially with the history of Disney, it's ironic that you even say because it's an image company. Come on, the whole image of that company is questionable. People have been coming after Disney for a very long time, so that can't be your reason. You got to stop playing with me. You know, but they couldn't allow something like that to persist. And they had to take care of it. Like somebody said here, don't be made to be the example. Don't be made to be the example, right? Listen, that's all I got for y'all tonight. I want y'all to really think about it. Right? Somebody says, Paul Pierce don't give a freak laughing my behind her. They really didn't like him anyway. No, they didn't like him. That's exactly what I said, Christopher. They didn't like him, right? They didn't like him. He probably was tired of them anyway. However, like I said, we could say no big deal, but don't think that it won't affect all of us. And that's how we got to really start moving and start thinking. And that's why communities that are cohesive, they have a cultural bonding that says, don't disrespect the culture. Don't do anything that's going to bring a shame. Don't do anything that's going to jeopardize what we are building, what we have built. Don't do anything. And everyone is responsible for holding that image. So everyone moves in a certain way and in a certain light. And that's why when things happen in other people's community, a lot of it goes under wrap. A lot of it is under the radar because they know how to move in unison. They know how to move in sync. So when you have a love of your culture and you have a respect and discipline for your community and for your people, you move a certain way and everybody bears the burden so the load can be lighter. We don't just put the load on a select few people when you move in unison. When you move on code, the load is not on just select people. When everyone carries the burden, we know that if one person drops it, it gets heavier for all of us, right? So if you operate like that and you move like that, then you start to think critically. You make decisions that are in benefit of your entire community, that shows respect and discipline for your community. So it really shouldn't be that way per se, but it is that way. But when you have a community such as ours that is greatly divided, when you have a community such as ours that has adopted so many different cultures, so many different spirituality beliefs, so many different religions, so many different people in their family, we have a community that's all amalgamated and all over the place how it is, it's kind of hard to keep everybody on code. It's kind of hard for people to understand if you do this, even though it's you, the individual, and it really shouldn't apply to all of us, but it does. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. And if we had that mindset, maybe, and I'm just saying maybe, I'm not saying this is going to be the case. I'm just thinking out loud, family. So just allow me to think out loud. That if we had that mindset, just maybe we will think about certain things because we will be more concerned how the public sees us. See, our dirty laundry behind closed doors is our dirty laundry. Don't get it twisted. All these other culturally informed communities out there, they got their dirty laundry too. They got their Chester molesters. They got their killers. They got their addicts, right? They got their users and their abusers. Everybody got social ills in their community. The difference is our community social ills are highlighted when almost everybody else is under wrap and protected, right? So what I'm saying to you is if we move that way, say, okay, we got to make sure we don't do it in a way that media would capitalize on it, that media would paint us to be these people that are not good, right? Right? If we had that mindset and we move that way, the minute media gets a hold of something, we would already have our own media to back it up and clean it up, to get the light off it. But we have to be in unison to do that. We have to have cultural love and cultural respect and cultural discipline in order for us to do that. This is just a thought. Just a thought. I agree with you. Somebody says, I think we're getting there. I think we're getting closer. We're far from there. We're far from there only because this thing that we are in is cyclical, right? And what I mean by that is this is not our first rodeo with combating these oppressive power forces. This is not our first rodeo. We're trying to get all of us on chord and in unison on code. This is not our first rodeo having these same conversations about love yourself, love the way you look, love your hair, love your melanin, love your people, marry your own. This is not the first time we've been having these discussions. We seem to be caught up in this cycle. So I think that some of us are getting there, but I need more of us to get there. Right? Okay, somebody's having a heart attack over here. Let's entertain this person for a second. So I don't know who this person is, but the person is saying, I don't recognize the name. So this is a great example. Though I'm gonna answer your question. It's an excellent example. He says, I can't even freely type here without being put on timeout for stupid reasons. Well, what are the stupid reasons? How can we speak on fairness and freedom of speech if the guidelines are so tight even here? We ain't speaking on fairness and freedom of speech. You on the wrong channel. You don't have fairness and freedom of speech here. This is the Black Anti-Defamation League. So if you say anything that's defaming, you're going to be put on timeout. We on code in this community. It's either you get on code or you stay off code. And if you off code, you go on timeout. So maybe you can tell me what you wrote, and I can help you get some insight into how this community works. But when I say we are a community, I really mean that. You may think it's just YouTube for you, but it's a community for us. Right? So maybe you can tell me what you wrote. I don't know what you wrote, but I'm going to tell you what we do here. So you already know. You already know. You learning. And I like that as an example. Let that be an example of everybody else that coming here with their anti-defamation crap, their anti-black defamation crap. You come in here with your anti-black you're gonna be timed out. Because we running the Anti-Defamation League up in here, baby. That's right. Somebody here it is. For us, by us. Hello. That's what my aunt used to say. May she rest in peace. My aunt used to say, hello. Everybody want to come in here and tell us how to run our channels. Get on out of this. Is black media. This is not your media. But nonetheless, y'all have a great night. I love every last one of y'all. Thank you for the donation. Shout out to my B1 family, my on-code family. I love my melanated family. Shout out to every last one of y'all. You know, shout out to the visitors that act right. Shout out to the visitors that act right. The other people gets to stepping. But listen, family, I'll see you guys all on Friday unless something else happens that I got to come on live and talk to y'all. Go ahead with the donations. I appreciate every last one of you guys. If you're not already following me on Instagram, I suggest you go over there. Some of you guys need to know about relationships, and that is my relationship channel. Is no activism there. There's no raising consciousness about blackness there. It's all relationships for anybody who wants to go to that page. You all be one love, red, black, and green. Stay tight. I'll see you all on Friday night.